Hi, and welcome to another lecture session on marketing management. In this lecture session, we're going to discuss some fundamentals in important topics regarding the marketing management, which are the consumer markets and consumer behavior analysis. We're going to talk through this lecture what's consumer market, what's consumer behavior analysis, factors affecting consumer behavior, and also consumer market analysis. So our first step, let's define the consumer market. The consumer market is normally related to those buyers or people or end users that they are buying the products and services of the organization for their personal consumptions rather than for reselling it. In these markets, they carry great deal of importance for the businesses, because majority of the businesses, they see their profitabilities in their targeting the consumer markets. But in these markets, there are some challenges that the business organizations should consider those challenges in for the better development or implementing the better strategies or formulating the better plans for gaining much more profit from these markets. The organization should consider those challenges. Like one of the challenge in this market is that all the consumers they do not share like same preferences or same habits or same taste or buying behaviors, or their buying decisions are not same. So these customers and consumers, they have different habits of buying, or different preferences based on their demands and wants. So the organizations, they're always busy working on these markets, realizing and understanding these markets, in conducting their studies in order to analyze these markets, in evaluate or monitor the changes which happen in these markets. Because of what that the marketing managers, they're always trying to adopt those changes which happen in consumer market, and based on those changes they're developing, or they're just restructuring or making their strategies, or adopting a new course of action in order to fulfill the needs of these markets in these consumers in a best possible way. So now, what's consumer behavior analysis, and why the organizations, they are conducting consumer behavior analysis? Normally, the consumer behavior analysis is the study of those processes, the study of the consumer behavior, that how do they buy the products, or how do they make decisions regarding the product, and how are their responses or behavior towards a brand, or towards the product and services of a particular organization. So businesses, they're studying these various factors, like the psychological factors, like the geographic factors. So these are quite important regarding the consumer, that how the consumers, they're responding to the product or to the brand of a particular company or organization. So organizations, they're always implementing different tools and tactics in order to study the consumer markets, and find out about the individuals and about the groups or even organizations, that how do they select or how do they use a product or service, and then monitoring their response based on the usage of the product. So it's quite important topic for the management or for the marketing team of the organization to see that what are the forces that actually for example, having impact on the consumer decision process. So they're discussing, or they're just studying consumer from different prospects, from different angles, in order to reach finding their needs and wants and demands, and fulfill those needs, wants and demands more like in a competitive way, better than the competitors. Also, while the organizations they are conducting the consumer behavior analysis, So they're looking for some data to come. They're looking for some points. From that analysis, they want to get some crucial points which are very much important for the organizations, and based on those points they are developing or they are arranging their marketing activities or their advertisement activities, or based on those points they're making strategies, they're making plans how to target a market. So from the consumer analysis study of if an organization conducts a consumer behavior analysis study, so these are the points that actually they are appearing from those studies. Number one, what consumers think and how they feel about various alternatives, brands and products. It means it's important that the organization which conducts the study or the analysis about the consumers, they want to know that what are the feelings and what are the attitude of the consumers towards the brands and products of the organization. Second, what influences consumers to choose between various options? We know that these days consumers, they are the king, and there is a wide range availability of various products in different varieties, so they have many more options. Now the organization, while they're conducting the consumer behavior study, they want to know those factors, that what are the factors that based on those factors or based on those points, the consumers, they are choosing a particular brand and leaving the other brands. And also the consumer behavior while researching and shopping, they want to know about and they want to study, and the study should reveal this point, that how do the consumers search about their products and services, and how do they shop. It means their shopping process, their shopping decisions should also be revealed from this study. Next, how consumers' environments, friends, family, media influences their behaviors. It means while the consumers are making decisions regarding buying something or their buying decisions, so normally their buying decisions are not made alone. The friends, families, some other forces like media, they have they have kind of influence on their buying processes. So the study should also reveal that how a family influence the buying process or the buying decision of a particular member, or how a friend can influence the buying process or the buying decision of another friend, or how media can influence this process. It means their role. So if they are just having negative influence, the marketing management of an organization is making plan for these forces in order to avoid their negative influence on the decision process of the consumers. The next point is consumer behavior is often influenced by different factors. Factors, as we mentioned before, that there are different factors that they are going to influence. These might be personal factors, economical factors, social factors, even technical factors. That they're having influence on the consumers, that they are going to change their buying decision time to time. Now let's discuss those factors which can influence the consumer behavior regarding the buying decision, that the organization should study them in a very careful way, and also manage these factors in order to have a very good impact on their consumers. Once the organization know about these factors, that they are influencing the buying process of the consumers, then they're working on those factors and reducing the negative impact in just trying to increase the positivity with these factors. The first factor that have influence on the buying process of an individual is the personal factors. So the personal factors, how do they influence the buying process of an individual? Let's discuss that. So the personal factors, they are included age, gender, and culture. So these are normally the factors that associated personally to the people. Like some of the products or services the people they attempt to use at some ages, but while the age is changing, the people who are growing, so suddenly they're leaving those products and services and they're not going to use them anymore. So this is a factor that actually with change in age or growing age, the people they tend to change their buying process or their buying decision processes. For example, normally, when we were kids, so our decision processes, they were made by families. The families, they were involved to buy, the products and services that, we need. But once we are growing, so suddenly we become, more mature, and we are in a state of mind, or in a position that actually we can make our own decisions. So automatically we start our own decision process, and we're going to make the decisions for buying something for ourselves. So suddenly, from the time that actually we were kids, and from the time that we are growing and getting mature, so a change comes in the process of buying. Gender, as we know that gender can be like a personal factor for people, and it can influence the buying processes. Like male and female, if we study or compare their buying decisions, so they have differences in their buying decisions, and the organization should highlight those points. In culture is another point, that it is influencing the buying decision process of the consumers, because the cultural problems, the cultural issues, they can create serious problem for decision making process. Like you might have seen that in some places, the female, they're not going alone, right, to cities for shopping due to the cultural factors. Or even in some places, the male, they are shopping for female because of the cultural factors. So the organization, they are considering these personal factors which are influencing on the buying process of the consumer. The next one is the psychological factors, that how a customer or a consumer psychologically responds to the marketing messages. Because while the organization is directing the marketing activities towards the consumers, so all consumers are not perceiving the message in the same way or in the same form. So the different consumers, they're responding to the marketing messages of the organization on their own perception and on their own attitude. For some people, it might be like motivated factor. The advertisement may motivate them to buy or to start the buying process. Or for some, it might be like not convincing enough. So psychological factors, they can refer to some points, like for example, motivation, like learning, or attitude, because motivation normally comes from inner drive, or it's a kind of pressure that actually it just appears from the inner side of a human being. Once like the marketing activities of an organization can convince and also create like a kind of need and demand for the product and services in the consumers, they are motivated by those messages, and they show kind of need or kind of demand for those products and services. And once the consumers they want to start a buying process, so they want to buy those products and services which can in a best possible way satisfy their needs, and the motivation they had from the inner side. So they're matching whether they were just like satisfied in a best way or not. Another factor is the social factors. We know that society is playing a very much important role, and also societies they have some rules, some regulations for all the processes. So inside the societies, whenever the families and friends, so they have a strong impact and strong relation with each others. So these factors can also influence the buying process of the individuals, the educational level, the social media, the income, in other groups. They can have like impact on the buying process of the consumers. For example, while an individual is buying something, so normally the family appears, or the family involvement is always seen over there. The families are giving suggestions to them, or the family will be asked for suggestions. The family's experience about the buying process will be shared with each other. So automatically, like the decision can be influenced by family. Even friends, If friends, they have a past experience about a product, and you want to buy that target product, so friends will share their experience, they can give you suggestions. So suddenly the buying process of the individuals can be influenced by friends, educational level. Time to time, when the individuals, they are educating more, their maturity level is going high, so their buying process or their buying decision is changing. Social media impact, the social media, the way they are advertising, the way they're performing the promotional mix, or the way they're just showing the products and services, so they can also have impact. The income level, once the income is increasing or decreasing, so automatically the buying processes will change with the income level of the individuals. From the other side, we are discussing the dimensions of the consumer market. Once the organization, they studied or they realize about the customers, about their needs, wants, and demands, now it's important that the consumer market dimensions should be studied, because it gives clue, it gives information to the organization, and also it brings the organization on a stage to decide to target market from which prospect. There are many dimensions: demographic, behavior, geographic dimension, and psychographic dimensions, that the consumer markets are comprised of these dimensions. So let's discuss these dimensions in further details. At first, we already studied the consumer market analysis, and also we talked about that the consumer markets refer to those markets that actually they're offering products and services to the end users. Now, the demographic characteristics of the consumer market. Characteristics which are included in the demographic section or in the demographic dimension, they are the gender, age, ethnic background, income, occupation, education, household, religion, generation, nationality, and even the social class. So these are the points that while a business organization is targeting in studying a market, and they want to target a specific market group, so they have to study these dimensions and they have to study these characteristics. Misal, agar yak idara mein khaya कि मार्केट از डेमोग्राफिक از طرف डेमोग्राफिक مطالعه کنه، یعنی میخواد که elements و عناصری که در डेमोग्राफिक موجود است او را مطالعه کنه، از لحاظ جندر است یا ایج است یا اینکم لیول است یا اوکیپیشن است، میخواد که این مارکت با اینی نقاط مطالعه کنه و بعد از او ایره ریالایز کنه و بفهمه که کدام نقطه با کمپانی زیاد میتونه که موثر باشه، مفید باشه و پروفیتبل باشه. مثال بعضی کمپانی هستن که وا ایج تارگت میکنن. They are making their products and services for a particular age of the people. Yeah, بعضی organizations هستن that they are making a specific product for a specific gender. As you know that. There are perfumes in market. We know that. Perfumes are different for male and for female. ای که با میل و با فیمیل متفاوت پرفیومز جور کرده یا demographic element مد نظر گرفته. در demographic element که از یا جندر مد نظر گرفته. یا مثال income level است. We know that. In societies, people, or we have different classes of people. So some people, they have high income, or some people may have a medium income, or some may have a very lower income. So now the organizations, they're studying the income level. After doing the research, they get information about the consumers. وبعد از مطالعه میبینه که کدام income level مردم اداره میتونه که تارگت کنه و با وا پروداکت و سرویسز خود و تمام فعالیت های مارکتینگ خود که از با وا دایرکت کنه. So in demographic dimensions ما باید به این نقاط بسیار زیاد متوجه باشیم. Psychographic characteristics of the consumer market. Psychographic characteristic is also one of the elements that the business organizations, they can segment, they can divide the market based on some points for knowing that which point is more profitable for the organization. So we can divide the market based on psychographic characteristics like threats, values or attitudes or interest of the individual's personality type and lifestyle of the people. So these are the points that the psychographic we can divide the market on psychographic characteristics. نقاط باید مد نظر گرفته شود زمانی که اداره میخواد که مارکت خود سگمنت کنه یا تقسیم کنه دیواید کنه و باز میخواد که ببینه که کدام گروپ اف پیپل که است مارکت به شکل بهتر و خوبتر واره میتونه که تارگت کنه و از واقع است پروفیت به دست بیاره. دیگه این نقاط که ما ذکر کردیم که values می باشه، attitudes هستن، interest می باشه، personalities می باشه یا lifestyle of the people می باشه. این تمامش که است element و عناصر است که the psychographic characteristics of the consumer markets حساب میشه. Coming towards the behavioristic characteristics of the consumer market. For finding information about the behavioristic characteristics of the consumer markets, the organizations, they're getting data through research, to surveys, through conducting interviews, with the consumers. And the points which are included in the behavioristic characteristics of the consumer market are about the product usage rate. It means how often the consumers, they are using a particular product of a particular organization, or brand loyalty, how loyal they are to the company, or their status, and how long they have been customer. Because of what? The organization normally they are maintaining a strong relation with the customers, like a CRM, customer relationship management. در ادارات که ما مثال نقاط departments داریم یا levels داریم که و مثال امرای customers relation مثال keep میکنه که عبارت از CRM می باشه، customer relationship management می باشه. دیگه همیشه دیتا زیاد دیده میشه که customers مثال با کدام اندازه تولیدات اداره را میخره یا مثال how often واقع هستن خریداری میکنه، امرای برند لایلتیشون چطور هستن و مثال هیستوری امرای ارگانایزیشنشون چطور است. این تمام نقاط میتونه که از ریسرچ با ما پیدا شود و بعد از ما میبینیم که ما کدام یوزرز زیاد میتونیم تارگت کنیم و کدام یوزرز امرای ما زیاد هستن. آیا ما هیوی یوزرز داریم یا میدیم یوزرز داریم یا لایت یوزرز داریم؟ اگر تعداد heavy users ما زیاد هستن so we can direct our advertisement programs and messages towards them و کدامش برای ما زیاد profitable است. So these are the points which are included in behavioristic characteristics of a consumer market. The next point is geographic characteristics of consumer markets. Business organizations, they can segment or they can divide their markets based on geography or based on areas. Consumer markets also have different geographic characteristics, like for example the size of the market, like the weather, the climate or the population density. یک مارکت که یک اداره میخواد او را تارگت کنه او را از لحاظ مارکت سایز هم میبینه که دو جغرافی که یا میخواد که در اونجا بره و او ساحه را تارگت کنه و سگمنت کنه و به او تولیدات و خدمات خود عرضه کنه. آیا او مارکت سایز با اندازه کافی کلان است، واید است؟ آیا او مارکت اقدر کیپیبیلیتی یا پوتنشل کستمرز و کنسیومرز داره که با ارگانایزیشن پروفیت بده؟ این نکات باید مد نظر گرفته شود. یا climate over there, the weather of that place. For example, if I give you an example, اگر یک کمپنی میخواد که مثال water produce کنه, they're producing water to a place where already the number of people over there is very less. بسیار با تعداد کم مردم در اونجا موجود است، بسیار با تعداد کم مردم در اونجا مثال ضرورت به آب داره. So definitely the company from the financial perspective will not do much better. چرا که اگر تعداد مشتری در اونجا کم است و یا میخواد برسون آب تولید کنه و در اونجا کستمرز پتانسیل هم بقدر خوبتر نیست یا در اولی جان شاید با آب ضرورت نباشه. So the company will not do a better job.